After his wife was on a business trip, his best friend had to come from the countryside to play. My wife asked me to treat her well, and my best friend must take care of her meticulously. As a wife slave, I must be obedient. That night, I packed up the guest room for her to stay. After I finished the bed, I found that his best friend was missing. When I looked again, I found that she had become a different person. My wife Chinli is a strong woman in the workplace. Although she is 3 years older than me, she has a very good figure and no trace of time can be seen. Not only is she beautiful, she can also make money. In the past 2 years of marriage, she said she should put her career first and consider having a child after making enough money. My mother was unwilling to do so at first, so she wanted to give birth to a grandson for our Chen family. Later, I learned that she earned 1 million yuan and bought all the houses and cars at home, so I didn't chase us to have children anymore. When I first got married, she and I had to work, but my salary was only 5,000 yuan. But I feel that making more money is better than being at home. But when he came back every night, Chinli looked unhappy. After asking the reason, I found out that she thought there were too many girls in my workplace and felt that I would betray her sooner or later. In fact, her worries are not necessary. Although I usually exercise 8-pack abs and those girls often drool at me, my heart is only on Chinli. She didn't know how much I liked her, and every time I saw her face, I had the idea of sticking together forever. In order to make her happy, I was about to quit and change my job. But Chinli directly told me not to go out to work. She said she would give me 20,000 yuan a month and let me stay at home and play games. She only wanted me to show her alone. For the sake of family harmony, I chose to give in. From then on, I am the one in this family and she is the one in the other. A few days ago, she suddenly said that the company wanted to arrange for her to go on a business trip for a month, and if the case was agreed, her annual salary would double again. I advised her that our living standards are already very good now, and there is no need to work harder, so let the opportunity be given to young people. But Chinli didn't want to miss this opportunity, she insisted on going on a business trip. But I was in trouble. I knew that her aunt had just left and had not had time to release her properly. She was going on a business trip for a month. She waited for her for 30 days, and I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get through it. After seeing off my wife, I couldn't sleep all night. I used to sleeping with Chinli in my arms, but now I'm not used to it. At night, Chinli suddenly called me, "Chen Gao, go to bed early today, and my sister's high-speed train will come tomorrow morning. You can pick her up to our house." I was a little confused and asked casually, "Your best friend Xiaoyu, why did she think of coming to play here?" My wife Chinli heard me ask this, but she was a little impatient. She continued to say to me, "Don't worry about why she came here. I'll go to the high-speed rail station to pick her up tomorrow morning and take her home. Remember, you have to treat her well and take her to eat and stroll. If you don't have enough money, I will transfer you another 100,000 yuan. Have you heard of it?" Since my wife said so, there is no need for me to refuse. After all, she is Chinli's best friend, so it's not natural to entertain her. When I think of Xiaoyu, I met once on the day we got married. She was always with Chinli. Although she was always in the countryside, her face was not inferior to Chinli at all. Later, I haven't seen her for so long. It's not like him, you know what he's now. After a while, Chinli sent me another message, which was Xiaoyu's phone number. Thinking that I would get up early tomorrow, I had no thoughts, so I changed the alarm clock for myself, turned my head and went to bed. The next day, I arrived at the high-speed rail station an hour in advance, for fear of missing the time to pick up Xiaoyu. If she didn't receive it, she was complaining to Chinli, and Chinli would definitely blame me at that time. Seeing that Xiaoyu's bus time was coming, I walked to the exit and waited, but the people who were waiting for the bus were almost gone, and I didn't see Xiaoyu coming out. So I remembered the phone number Chinli sent me. I dialed it in and no one answered it for a minute. When I was about to call Chinli to ask if the number was correct, someone suddenly pulled my phone away from behind me, and then shouted me in a weird tone, "Hey, guess who I am?" The sound was sweet and playful. I looked up and saw a beautiful woman wearing sunglasses, long hair and suspender shirt standing in front of me. She stood in front of me, and I couldn't help but mutter, "Is this Xiaoyu?" I didn't look like this when I saw her before. The beauty in front of me looks so beautiful. Although she is not as mature and charming as her wife Chinli, she looks like a pure appearance at first glance, which makes me sigh in my heart that there is such a big change. I seemed to be amazed inside, but I still acted normally on the surface and asked, "Are you Xiaoyu?" When the other party saw that I recognized her, he happily took off his sunglasses and smiled at me, "Haha, long time no see. I didn't expect that your figure is still so good, just as handsome as when you got married." When I heard her say this, I knew that it must be Qinli who usually talked to her about me. I remember one night, I went to the balcony to smoke a cigarette. When I came back, Qinli was already asleep. At this time, her phone lit up and it seemed that news was sent, so I picked up my phone and looked at it for her. Finally, I saw the chat record between her and Xiaoyu. Is your husband good to you? Okay, he is so awesome. How powerful is it? Haha, you single dog, how can you understand after you say it? No, I want to listen. Qinli praised Xiaoyu for how skilled my body, how good it was. Xiaoyu kept envious of it and said that he would definitely find a boyfriend who was as strong as me in the future. When I came to my senses, I felt a little embarrassed and praised, "You are so beautiful, can't you find your boyfriend?" When Xiaoyu heard me praising her, her face couldn't help but smile brighter, and even held my arm and asked, "Then do you think I'm pretty?" I replied with a smile. Of course. Then who is more beautiful than me, Qinli? Asked by him so unexpectedly, I quickly pushed his hand away and explained, Qinli is the most beautiful in my heart, which is not like. After hearing my answer, Xiaoyu's face changed obviously. He never said a word to me along the way. I also felt in my heart that I was talking too hard just now. So I planned to take her to a restaurant where Qinli and I often go to for dinner. As a result, when I talked to her, she still ignored me. I was in shock asking her what dish she wanted to eat, but she would just pout and ignore me without saying a word. It seems that this girl has a more stubborn temper than Qinli, and I have to give in to her. Thinking about Qinli asked me to take good care of Xiaoyu, but she couldn't make her angry on the first day. Thinking about it, my relatives here have gained a lot from Qinli since they got married. The son of my cousin could not find a job, and Qinli helped me introduce him to find a relaxed and rich position. My cousin's daughter also found a rich boyfriend after being introduced by Qinli. Including my mother in her hometown, every month Qinli always calls back the living expenses in advance, and I never have to worry about it. Now that her best friend has finally come from the countryside, I can't treat others badly. I walked to Xiaoyu again, and he wanted to turn around again. I suddenly supported his shoulders, making it difficult for him to move, and then laughed and apologized to her. Okay, I said the wrong thing, you compare Qinli Mei, is that good? Unexpectedly, he became arrogant and wanted to turn around and hum, I have no sincerity. He probably saw that I was perfunctory, so he didn't accept my apology. He wanted to be sincere. I held up his face with both hands and pinched it with my hands. Oh, I was wrong, would you forgive me this time? Good. Fortunately, this apology has worked, and he saw a smile on his face. Okay, then I will forgive you this time, but it will not be so easy in the future. Finally, I comforted this ancestor and took him out for dinner without saying a word. Unexpectedly, his taste was completely different from Qinli. Qinli liked sweetness and lightness, while he was spicy and had a strong taste. Even I couldn't stand it. I thought he ate it with relish. I had no choice but to drink water and watch him eat quietly. Thinking of him placing rice on his lips, I couldn't help laughing. He stopped and asked me, "Why are you laughing at?" I said, "Is there any food on my face?" I shook my head and smiled and replied to him, "It's not rape, it's rice grains." As he said that, he wanted to get the rice grains down, but he was never able to reach them. When I saw him constantly looking for me, I thought of Qinli again. Thinking about us now being separated, I hope he can come back soon. Seeing that Xiaoyu was out of reach, I couldn't help but go to help him. As a result, as soon as he met me, his face touched my hand. I reflexively said, "Return." Looking at it again, Xiaoyu seemed to become shy, just lowered his head and didn't say anything. At this moment, someone suddenly patted me on the shoulder from behind me. I'm telling you, that kid is living so carefree now. When I looked back, I found that my college classmate was unknown. I have never dealt with him. He always feels that his conditions are better than me. He shouldn't have divorced just after getting married, but I found a good wife like Qinli. When he was in school, he always liked to poach me. I had a girlfriend. He took advantage of my preparation for the postgraduate entrance examination and dug me. After the matter was completed, he also mocked me for having a bad vision. I was too lazy to pay any attention to him when I heard his sarcastic questions. Seeing that I didn't say anything, he sat down next to Xiaoyu with a thick face and stared at Xiaoyu with a squint look on his face. I heard that you have found a rich woman. It turns out that you want to use the rich woman's money to be so happy? It seems that your vision is really good. Is this girl much better than your rich woman? After saying that, he gently teased Xiaoyu's chin with his hands. When I saw him take action, I immediately stood up and opened his hand. What are you doing? Wuming, be careful when you touch your hands and feet, I'm not polite to you. But Wuming ignored my warning at all and stood up to confront me. What? Do you feel sorry for this girl? The rich woman doesn't want it anymore, don't give it to me. He was so bullying that I couldn't stand his gossip and punched him in the face with one fist. When he was about to swing the second punch, Xiao Yu stood up and hugged me. Don't hit me anymore, let's go. Actually, I don't want to cause trouble, but Wuming is simply too bullying. Wuming touched the corner of his mouth, looking disdainful. I sincerely tell you that this little strength has been exhausted. He did this and made me feel like he was provoking me, and he never fought back, which made me start to doubt that he had another purpose in doing this. Even though I felt anger in my heart, I looked at Xiao Yu shaking my head at me, and I could only swallow this anger. After quickly recovering from peace, I just warned Wuming, I won't care about you this time. If I see you again, I will never forgive you. When I got home, I realized that the back of my hands was also red and a little bit slightly scratched. Xiao Yu also saw it. He was so nervous that he was in a hurry to find a medicine box and wanted to apply medicine to me. I saw that he looked very cute and comforted him with a smile. Stop looking, when you find it, the wound has healed. Instead, he was unhappy and came over and punched me in the chest. Hate you, you will also joke. No, I must find a band up. Seeing that he was not giving up, I had to hold him with one hand. Unexpectedly, he fell into my arms with too much strength. I could feel the difference between him and Qin Li. The moment Xiao Yu met, my heart was beating inexplicably, but he was Qin Li's best friend, and I shouldn't have any inappropriate thoughts about him. He quickly pushed him away, then turned his face and said, I will tidy up the guest room and you will sleep there at night. But Xiao Yu had no intention of leaving at all, and said thank you to me. You are so handsome when you stand up for me today. It feels so good to be protected by you. I am still happy to be praised by others, but this relationship is really not suitable for being so close. So I got up and pulled him up too. Okay. Stop making trouble. Seeing that I was really going to clean up the room, Xiao Yu didn't stop him anymore. Then, he also took out his pajamas from his suitcase. Then I'll go take a shower first. When I arrived at the guest room, I quickly closed the door to calm down. At this time, Qin Li's phone call suddenly came over.